Hello, it is me and Zero, and we're going to talk a little bit about the spawning mechanics in Destiny and those times when you cannot seem to find absolutely anyone on the map to fight with. To show you how this works, let's take Blind Watch. Blind Watch is a fairly simple map, it's extremely linear, and it can be broken up into three sections. Section A, Section B, and Section C. If you actually look or play a game of Control, you will find that it's fairly obvious where these sections are, because, yep, the points mark it out. Section A is where the point A is, Section B is right in the middle, and Section C is far back where point C is. You can't get much more simple than that. That's why they have 3 points in this map. That's why they have 3 points in many maps, because they seem to be broken up into thirds. The system works in the way that if you have control of 2/3, then your enemy will spawn in the final third. If you control point B and point C, then the enemy will spawn at point A. Some people see this as spawn trapping, some people see this as just an understanding of how map control works. There is nothing wrong with controlling a space. If you happen to dominate that area, that's called map control. The pros in Halo did it, the pros in Call of Duty, they all do it, the map control. This gives you power. If you control where the enemy spawns, then you know what avenues they're going to come through. That gives you some use for your trip mine grenades, for any type of grenade that acts as a barrier. You're going to stop them advancing. Surely that's how the game is supposed to be played. Anyway, back to the whole third sections. If you hold 2, they spawn in 1. Which is why you should probably only hold 2 points in control. Because if you make an advance into their section, the system develops a defense mechanism to stop them getting spawn killed. It throws them off of section A and will put them into your unguarded section. Or your weakest section, section C, which is also the furthest away from where they're technically starting to be spawn killed now. By you attacking an alternate point that they control, you're damaging your defenses. You're actually submitting that section that you're no longer guarding. The majority of your forces are now pushing up to B, and a fair set of your forces are moving into A. You've just left C unguarded, they spawn there, they overtake that point, they come up behind you, kill you, and take over your center point. All of a sudden, hey, you've just flipped. Where you had the strength, now it's your weakness. They have 2 points, you have 1. You all of a sudden lose map control. Okay, you've managed to get their base closest to them, but what now? You've got forces spread throughout the map, you're weak. Map control in player versus player games is exceptionally important. You could have a team that's not fantastic. They don't necessarily need to be the strongest, best skilled players out there, but it makes a difference if you control your environment. So be aware of where you are, be aware of advancing. It's safe to say that all these maps follow this rule. The rule that it is broken up into thirds at least. So this is why it's really great to communicate your ideas to your teammates. If they do not want to push up on the next objective, then you do not have to. You're better to keep a large cluster of people on 2 objectives that are manageable rather than attempt to get a third objective that is not manageable. But that's us talking about control. How does this come into play when you're playing Slayer game types or Clash game types? Well, the same rules apply to the spawning system. If you have the majority of your forces in one area, then chances are the enemy will spawn in said opposite area. If you control 2 points of the map, the enemy will spawn in the third point in the map. Their numbers start to thin in that area. Your whole team is advancing. There's only one place that they can spawn, your weakest area, and that's where they will be. By running with the pack, you're going to be stronger as a unit. And you can also control where the enemy are going to spawn. Some players recognise this and actually use the gift of hindsight almost to run to certain areas where they believe the enemy is about to spawn. You might not get there in time for them exactly to spawn, and hey, that's good, nobody likes a spawn killer. But these players will get there quick enough to meet said spawning players, and if you can take the enemy team down in a constant stream, one after another, then they will lose the ability to manage their numbers and collect in one place. They will not be able to farm their pack. And that's almost what it's all about. It's about thinning down a group's numbers so that they are weaker as individuals. There's nothing really more I can say about this. Being in the right place at the right time is not part of it. You are not lucky to happen to be somewhere when they spawn. It's because your players are in certain areas. It takes a different level of player to understand where his teammates are, how his teammates are doing, and how the enemy is reacting. Let's call it Orion's Law. Orion's Law states that in a map of 3 sections, you will only ever be able to control 2. Therefore, you should not try and control 3. It should not be your objective to control all 3 plots. This does not only apply to control, this does not only apply to objective game types. This is for every map. This applies to the maps themselves. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Please rate, comment and subscribe, and there will be more videos to come. See ya!
More efforts like that.
I yoinked that last fucking kill. No, it's all about me. It's me. Damn, I couldn't fucking find anybody. Where the fuck were you guys going to find the enemies? Seriously. I didn't see 23 people that entire fucking game. Like, seriously, I did not